Hey, man, I'm really glad to have David Shaw back on the line tonight from Streetlight Circus. Dave, it's been a long time since we talked, man. How you doing?
Good to talk to you again. Last time we spoke, I think, was at the Main Street Music Fest down at Ellicott City, Maryland, I believe.
Yeah, and that, boy, summer days, and a long time since then. It's been a rough winter this year. I bet it's been rough up there in New York.
It has not been fun. I just got back from a weekend in Florida, and I finally remembered what the sun felt like, so... It's been a brutal winter if you're on the East Coast, as you guys well know.
Absolutely, and can't wait for spring. And good segue, man. Speaking of spring, you guys have some really cool shows coming up in April. I think I saw bands like Y&T and Trickster. And tell us a little bit about your April schedule.
Yeah, we're finally getting our 2014 started. We did one local show as part of kind of the Long Island rock and roll family, a bunch of bands out here back in February, and that was kind of a warm-up to get us back on stage again. But really, April is where we kick off the 2014, I guess, Streetlight Circus campaign, and we're going to be starting on Saturday, April 5th, at a great venue in Manhattan called Stage 48 with Y&T, and it's an early show, so if you're coming out to New York City or if you're in the area and you're coming out to that, we're on stage by 6:30 in the evening. I guess rock and roll does get played early in the evening, and Y&T right after us. That's going to be a great night. The weekend after that is a packed weekend for us, April 11th, which is Friday. We are performing at Revolution in Amityville, Long Island with Trickster. Saturday the 12th, we're in Bristol, Pennsylvania at a place called Freddy's Tavern. And then back on Long Island at the Even Flow Bar and Grill for an afternoon show, a benefit for a great guy named Danny Wiseman, who owns Even Flow, and we're trying to support a venue that's really gone out of its way to support musicians and bands and original and cover bands and everything on Long Island here. So an afternoon show to benefit that place and help them spruce up the joint a little bit. So it's going to be a great weekend of rock and roll. That weekend, April 5th, though, is when it all starts, when we play with Y&T, and tickets for all those upcoming shows can be gotten right from us at streetlightcircus.com.
Now, when people hear the list of the bands you're playing with, you know, they may mistake you guys from, like, a band from the 80s, but you're not. And yet you guys have that kind of cool 80s sound, but yet you got a modern twist. Can you talk a little bit about your style for people that don't know you guys yet?
Yeah, you know, we're obviously, you know, heavily influenced by, you know, old school pure hard rock and roll, you know, from your Cheap Trick to your AC/DC to Kiss to, you know, Van Halen to bands like that. But, you know, the cool thing is every member of this band listens to a real diverse bunch of artists, you know, from Butch Walker, you know, to all kinds of, you know, modern rock bands and stuff. So I think, you know, we kind of fuse a little bit of kind of modern hard rock sounds with, you know, the stuff that we grew up on and the stuff that kind of built the foundation for what we listen to. And, yeah, we do wind up supporting a lot of the old school 80s hard rock bands that come through town. But we always love trying to get on bills with younger artists as well. And we've been really working hard of, you know, younger record-buying audiences, you know. So as long as we can keep doing both, we're all very happy.
And then, like, looking forward, man, I don't even know if you know this, we're going to be down at the Soundwave Music Festival, which is way out in September, I think, or something like that. But
yeah, that's
really
going to be
you guys plan that.
That's going to be a great show. That's really cool, and you know, I'm glad that you guys have supported us and gotten the word out about us down there, and they came play that show. I know Kix is on that bill, and Trickster again is on that bill as well. LA Guns, Slaughter, a bunch of great bands. Another New York band called Station that we're familiar with from our neck of the woods.
Station, man.
Yep, they're going to be down there too. So we're looking forward to that. That's a 3-day festival, September 11th through 13th in Berlin, Maryland, just outside Ocean City. I think you can go to airliftentertainment.com or to our website, streetlightcircus.com, to get info on that. We're performing on the Friday, September 12th, Not sure of our stage time just yet, but we're looking forward to that. We're also going to be part of a festival on July 5th in West Virginia called the Rock and Roll Carnival, down in, I believe it's Chester, West Virginia, and I have heard some cool names are going to be involved in that, but they have not released the lineup yet, so I've got to keep it hush-hush. But, keep listening for that, and I'm hearing it's going to be a lot of fun.
Now, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it just because I know you a little bit. But folks that heard you or know you as a solo artist, do you occasionally still bring in some of the solo tunes into a Streetlight Circus set?
We do. We started, this band got started after I recorded my solo album, Walking on a Wire, which is, I think, floating around there on cdbaby.com. You can still download copies of it. Occasionally we throw in some of the solo songs from that album. I know one of the ones that you guys have really liked a lot is You Get None, which is one of the ones... it's been in the set more regularly lately, and we've actually even toyed with the idea of re-recording it for the next album because, George and Fabio, my two guitar players, do some real nice interplay on that song and have really kind of spruced it up from where it started. So, we occasionally like to throw in a few of those songs as well. We're also writing a whole bunch of new songs. We have about 6 new songs written, and we're going to start debuting them at these April shows, so we're looking forward to that.
Hey, you're right about You Get None. That still is probably my favorite song in your set. And it's no secret. I told you that before. And it does.
You did, yes. You're an old school kind of guy. You're an old soul. You're going our beginnings just to find your favorite songs. I can deal with that. That's all right.
And then for people that may or may not know your music, tell us a little bit about the album Snake Mountain Sessions, because there's a pretty cool, that's pretty cool tunes on there too.
Yeah, the Snake Mountain Sessions was our follow-up EP to our full-length record that came out in 2012. So last year, before we played the M3 Rock Festival for our second time, which was very cool, we really worked hard to finish some songs and kind of tweak a few of the songs that didn't make it onto the self-titled debut. The Snake Mountain Studios is a studio owned by my drummer, Eric Fehrenbach, who also mixed the CD as well. We put out a 4-song EP with some songs that have become staples of our set list, songs like Long Time and She Likes to Come and Go and Confessions, and there's one cool song, the song that leads it off, called I Shot the Radio, that we have not performed live yet, but it's a song we're all really fond of, but we just don't know how to... We're still working on figuring out how to actually get that into the live set. It's it's an interesting song to actually translate from the album to the stage, but at some point we may surprise even ourselves and do it.
Yeah. Now, I was looking back at your website today, and I saw the music video to Downside. So can you tell me a little bit about the story behind that, and also maybe how you got that cop car to pull in there and put their lights on?
That is a funny story. Yeah, the video. If you go to our website, right on the front page, you'll find the video to Downside. That's the first song on our full-length album. The man who came up with the concept for it and directed it for us was Rick Ernst. He is the director of the documentary Get Thrashed that you may have heard of. He is a good friend of ours, and he's had great success with Get Thrashed. It's a fantastic film documenting the history of thrash metal. He's a good buddy of ours, and he chipped in to help us do this video. We shot it up in Yonkers, New York, at some crazy, desolate former site of something or another. If you can see in the video, I don't know what it used to be. It looks like greenhouses and a factory or something. It's a whole mess over there. And on one of the days when George was up there doing guitar shots, the police came. We were doing it kind of guerrilla style, and the police came to chase us out of there. And instead of getting chased out of there, George convinced them somehow. And this is something that George has a knack to do. Sweet talked the cops into letting us use letting us use their police car in the video. So that turned out kind of fun. Gave a little extra life to the video for us. So it was a little nice touch, and I got to give all the credit the smooth-talking guitar playing George Danoulis for that one.
Having met George, man, that's a cool story, and I could just picture that happening for you.
Yeah, shouldn't surprise you at all. Anything that George finds a way to pull off should not surprise anybody.
Hey, now, one last thing before I let you go here. You guys have played with a lot of bands out there. Is there somebody, and I've been recently asking bands this, is there somebody that you have latched onto that sort of like we would know that has been either a mentor or just somebody you looked up to in the music world through all your times you played with all these bands?
Wow. It's interesting. I mean, for me personally, and I've been lucky enough to meet him a couple times, I guess there were two people who really were the biggest influences on me. Number one is Robin Zander of Cheap Trick, who, for my money, is the best singer in rock and roll, still is, and is a big influence on me personally. I can also say, and here's an example of bringing up an artist that would seem strange for a guy who plays in a hard rock band, but you probably remember the Knack, the band that sang My Sharona. The singer, Doug Feiger, was somebody that befriended me when I was in college, and was a big influence on my life. He died of cancer a few years ago, and I'm still close with people in the Knack's camp and family members of his, and he was a huge influence on my songwriting too. So as much as I'm into the hard rock and some heavy metal stuff, even the great power pop of bands like the Knack and bands like that also been an influence on my songwriting, and Doug Feiger was a huge influence personally on me. So I think that Cheap Trick, the Knack, Doug Feiger, Robin Zander, those guys were a big part of the artist I've become and the kind of singer I am, and maybe even the kind of songwriter I am.
Hey, man, well, that's an awesome story. I did not know that, so I learned something very cool new about the relationship with the Knack. And, man, they are a very cool rock band, so, yeah.
I'll tell you, I'll give you a little extra insight. This band, Streetlight Circus, before we took on the name Streetlight Circus, was called David Shaw and the Round Trip. Round Trip was the third album from the Knack, and a lot of people don't know it very well, but for my money, it's one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life, and was a huge influence on me, and so that kind of took on a life of its own when I started Round Trip Music back in the day when I put out my solo album, and then David Shaw and the Round Trip before we kind of evolved into the band we are now. So the Knack, a lot of people need to go and find songs from those guys beyond My Sharona and realize what a great band they were. Fantastic musicians, great guys, incredible songwriters. That's, and I know the guys in my band are going to listen to this and go, oh, there he goes on the Knack again. And but, they know how I feel about him, so.
Well, that's an awesome story, man. It's inspired me. I'm going to go out and check them out, the old albums. You're right. A lot of us don't know much deep into their catalog, but I am going to go check it out now because of that recommendation. So
highly worth it. Highly worth it. I got to tell you.
Hey, David, man, always a pleasure talking to you, and I can't wait to see you. I'm hoping we're going to see you before the Soundwave Musical Festival, but if not, we'll see you down there in Berlin. And thank you so much for joining us tonight after a long day of travel, man. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, and please invite everybody to come over to streetlightcircus.com and see where we're playing, and find us on Facebook and all that good stuff.
You got it, man. David Shaw, everybody, Streetlight Circus. Great rocker. David, thanks for being here tonight, man.
Thanks, bro.